I love the way he would, run around the audience and ask questions, and then he'd sort of adjust his glasses. And what was that line that he would always say? I'm going to try it out for myself here. He'd always say, "Is the caller there?"
Yes, I'm here. The caller is here. Thank you.
Rest in peace to the king of daytime talk, Phil Donahue. An anthology about the bad, the short-lived, and the forgotten shows and events in television history. This is It Was a Thing on TV.
Punisher! Control!
Tell me before I change my mind!
I give you Super Train.
Episode 490, Submission 388 Delta, the video game show Volume 4, A New Hope, with apologies to Lucasfilm. Well, guys, I know we said it when we did Volume 3. We're like, we're done. We are done. We're not going to find 9 more bad video games to talk about. We were wrong.
In case you forgot some of the games that we've covered in the past, we've covered American Gladiators for the NES and SNES, Funhouse, the Alf PC game, Superman 64. Oh my gosh, that was a train wreck and a half. Pimp My Ride, Home Improvement for the SNES, I think one of our favorite games that we covered in the first episode. Price is Right for the PC back in the late 80s, early 90s. Roller Games, Family Dog, the legendary Thunder in Paradise game for the CDI, MASH for the Atari 2600, Hell's Kitchen for the Wii, Bullseye for the Switch, and NWO Thunder for the PS1. So that's what we did previously, but now we have 9 more new titles that we're going to add with differing levels of crappiness, let's say. So I will start, and I'm going to start with a game that I actually have in my hand. I think I purchased this about 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago during the pandemic, because I went to Half Price Books, which is a franchise. There's a few in this area, and I know there's other locations in the Midwest and East Coast. So Half Price Books had, for the amazing price of $4.99, a copy of VIP for the PS1. Oh boy, where to start? Maybe I should start with, ever since I bought this game 4 or 5 years ago, I've never played it. Primarily because I need to find my PS2 and all the hookups to get it to work. But the game itself, well, VIP, in case you don't know, is a Pamela Anderson series where they play private investigators for an investigation firm. And basically, that whole premise is sort of modeled in this game, where you're trying to protect a cosmetic surgeon in Los Angeles. The mob is out to get him, and you actually see in one of the early shots the mobsters like walking on his property, and I need somebody to take out these folks and protect me. So they call Pam Anderson and the VIP crew.
Couldn't they have found somebody better than Pam Anderson?
I'm not going to take that slander for VIP, okay? This is the second week in a row we've talked about VIP, and as I mentioned last week, it's on for 2 hours on MeTV Plus every morning, 7 to 9 a.m., just after 2 hours of Baywatch. So you got 4 hours of Pam Anderson every weekday morning. So that's one way to get up in the morning. I think I said that last week, but I'm going to say it again. That's one way to get up in the morning. So this game, you're trying to protect this plastic surgeon. And really, in the end, all you do is mash buttons. I'm not kidding. It's very Dance Dance Revolution of sorts, or there's been some other games like that. There was one for the DS, like Rhythm Nation, where you just like press the buttons in the order they show you on the screen. And if you do that, Then Pam Anderson attacks the mobsters. And the thing is, and I saw a video from the Angry Video Game Nerd on this game. Pam Anderson, on the cover of the game, on the liner notes, she's holding a gun. What do you think she attacks her enemies with in this video game? Well, she's holding a gun, so maybe you think she's shooting a gun. The answer is no. She's attacking the enemies with a purse? She's like an old lady hitting her enemies with the purse. I mean, I don't even think I saw her, like kick people or punch people. I think all I saw was her hitting enemies over the head with a purse. And then they did bring in Nellie Raitano's character. I don't know how this actually came along, but Natalie Raitano's character, she did the shooting. And really the shooting is as simple as the simplest shooting video game ever. Not that I'm making any names up, but you just have a set of crosshairs and you just need to align the crosshairs on your target and shoot. But also, and I sort of referred to this earlier, you don't actually move in the game. The only things you do is you got to hit the appropriate buttons, directional buttons or the action buttons. And that's when Pam Anderson whacks the enemies over the head with the purse, and you move the crosshairs and shoot in the Natalie Raitano mode. You don't actually move the characters through the game. There's not a lot of game to this. Like I said, it's almost like, just follow the directions on the screen. Hit the button you see, and if you hit the buttons in the right order, in the right amount of time, Pam Anderson hits somebody over the head with a purse, and if not, I'm guessing the enemies hit Pam Anderson over the head with a purse. I don't know. So yeah, this is mercifully the first entry for me tonight, so I'm going to pass it on to Chico with his first entry.
While we're on kick-ass ladies, now we're on ladies of a different sort, the ladies of Wisteria Lane. Because in 2006, hot off the heels of the success of Desperate Housewives, we get Desperate Housewives, the PC game. You are the newest housewife on Wisteria Lane and control everything from your personality and appearance to the look of your new home, to whom you choose to befriend or backstab. Interact with Susan, Bree, Lynette, Gabrielle, and Edie while you uncover juicy secrets, dirty laundry, and the most shocking mystery of all, your own.
Whoa.
Whoa. Basically, the folks at Liquid Entertainment and Buena Vista Games said, we're going to do our own version of The Sims. Because this would be around the time The Sims was really blowing up. So this game is basically The Sims, but with digital avatars of Terry Hatcher, Nicolette Sheridan, Marsha Cross, Eva Longoria, and the other one.
The one who died?
No, the one who died is voiced by Brenda Strong, and she makes an appearance in voice only in this game. Watching a lot of playthroughs on a lot of commentary channels on YouTube, it is very much The Sims modded to Desperate Housewives. But here's the thing. It moved 400,000 copies.
Maybe a lot of middle-aged women really wanted to play this game. But I got a question. You know what this game should have needed? It should have needed a mini game with Nicolette Sheridan's character and T.O. You remember that? Remember that Monday Night Football intro?
I think we played it in the past.
Just remember, team's gonna have to win this one without T.O.
Unlike The Sims, though, this has 12 episodes to play through, and an overarching storyline written by one of the writers of the show, guy by the name of Scott Sanford Tobis. The main story of the 12 episodes, you as the newest housewife must battle a love rival to your husband. His secretary, Jackie Martin, who stops at no cost to get what she wants, and the cranky neighbor at a Davenport. You must also deal with the antics of her unruly 14-year-old son and the people around him. Other residents aren't as nice as they seem when a private investigator, Eric Larson, shows up in town alongside a shady businessman, Vincent Corsetti, who seems to have ulterior motives. And in the end, their secrets are aired to the public, and a desperate decision is made in a hostage situation.
There are 4 possible endings to each game.
You can run away with Eric. You can run away with Vincent. You can remain with your husband. Or you can shoot all 3.
You know what? Let's do the shoot all 3 ending. Let's see what happens. I'm curious. I want to see what happens if you shoot all 3 and kill them.
As sort of benign, I guess is the word I'm looking for, as this game is, because it did receive mixed reviews. It did move 400,000 copies and actually was nominated for Outstanding Achievement in Character Performance Female, Brenda Strong as Mary Alice Young, at the 10th Annual Interactive Achievement Awards. And here with another thing that existed is Greg.
We have to talk about Eek the Cat. He had his own Super Nintendo game. Now, guys, you know who created Eek the Cat, right?
Savage Steve Holland.
That's right. You know what else he created?
Among other things, the Whammy.
I have no idea.
Hey, Whammy, it's been a long time since we've talked, so I gotta ask you, what was it like to share a stage with Deadpool and Wolverine last month?
I didn't share a stage with them. They took over my show.
I know.
Let's not share the stage with them. They took over my show.
They did take over your show, but you did share screen time with them.
Yeah, I know, but that was basically them saying, "Get out of here. This is our show. Whammy, you're fired." Oh, I shouldn't say that. That would be something that Mr. Black would say. But yeah, they said, just get out of here. We're going to take over the show. So I took the rest of the day off.
Now, Whammy, I have a question. Did you encounter a Cajun man who wants to make a name for himself?
Cajun man that wants to make a name for himself?
Yep.
Don't ask me. I don't know what he's talking about either.
Well, Whammy, you just remember what happened here today.
I will. We talked about Savage Steve Holland, who supposedly created me, even though really the devil from Second Chance created me because that's my father.
That's right. The devil, he got a little busy one night, huh?
Oh, he got busy more often than one night, let me tell you. He got busy more often than J.D. Vance going to a furniture store.
All right, Whammy, please get out of here.
Hold on, I got a question to ask you.
I didn't know you were going to ask me a question, Whammy.
Well, yeah, Press Your Luck is a game of questions, and I have a question for you. Who is J.D. Vance's favorite football player of all time?
Oh, God. Oh, I get it. I know what you're going with this, Whammy.
What's the answer?
Tim Couch.
Ah, damn it, he got me again. Back to Eat the Cat video game.
Yeah. Would you believe, guys, that this is a port of a completely different game called Sleepwalker on the Commodore Amiga? That's right. They just ported over Eat the Cat and just gave him the sprites and everything for the Super Nintendo adaptation of this completely different game. I'm playing the YouTube video of this game right here.
Why does it look like Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Yeah, it basically looks like that.
So for the viewers at home, what Eek the Cat is doing is he's protecting an old lady, guiding her somewhere. I mean, right there, Eek the Cat is like extending his body across like a gorge or something. Not really a gorge, but it just so the woman could get across to the other side. Boy, this looks so fun. Protect this old lady at all costs.
I didn't know Eek the Cat was basically trying to be like Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard, protecting this old lady. At 6:53, Eek just pushed this poor lady into a barrel. Oh, Eek versus the Flying Saucers.
And that looks like his girlfriend sleepwalking. So is this the whole game? You're Eek the cat protecting other people?
Yeah, I think this is basically what it is. Gee, what variety to this game. I think Superman 64 had more variety than this. And that's saying a lot.
How did it take us 4 installments of the video game show to finally cover this piece of crap?
I know. You think that's bad, just wait till you get to my last entry.
Well, before we get to that, we have to get to my second entry, and the second entry I'm going to do is actually a tale of 2 different versions of the same game. Well, maybe not the same game, but the same title. And the title I'm going to talk about is 1 versus 100. I'm going to start off with the better version of the 2. And really, back in 2008, when I got my Xbox 360, 1 versus 100 was one of the primary reasons I got it, because they did do a number of live games, not many. I think they only did maybe 4 or 5 live games, but they proved to be very popular. I don't know why they discontinued it, because I believe the number of people who participated in the first game or the second game, I think the first game may have had some glitches, was well over like 30,000 people. Playing a live game show, mind you, and playing a live game show where they only choose 100 people to play, that's 1 out of every 300 roughly. And only, I think, the one won the big prizes, obviously, unless the one blows it, and then the people who remained among the 100, they split up the prize, which I think was like Xbox points. They split it up equally. That was an absolutely amazing experience when it didn't have issues. And again, like I said, I think they did like 5 episodes or 5 games. It was some night of the week. It was weekly, I believe. That was absolutely amazing. That was really, truly interactive TV. It wasn't aligned to the TV, but an interactive game, if you will. But then that takes me to the DS game. The DS game I found perfectly enjoyable. It followed the format of the second season of the show, where you had basically the ladder where for every 10 people who got eliminated, you went up a step. Nothing wrong with that. And the AI, the computer, actually did a halfway decent job until the end. When I played it for the first time, and I've only played it 1 time since then, I'll get to that in a little bit, but the first time I played, I got to a situation where it was 1 versus 1. So it was me versus the computer. I get the question right, computer gets the question right. We go to another question, question 2. Same thing happened. I got it right, computer got it right. Go to question 3. Repeat the process. I got it right, computer got it right. 4th question, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 15th. Ultimately, we got to 20 questions where the computer was right every time, I was right every time, and I said, this is unbeatable. Not true, because, again, the second time I played it, which must have been about 4 or 5 years ago at this point, I just put it away saying, if this game can't be beaten, it's a piece of crap. And it was only like a $15, $20 game when I got it. But I did beat it the second time, and actually, I think I beat the game in that 1 versus 1 situation on the first try. So the game could be beaten. But that first time, 20 questions, I didn't miss, the computer didn't miss. And I just said, screw it, this is broken. I believe it was done by the same people who did the Deal or No Deal game we talked about in a previous video game installment. And that was broken in many, many ways. So I figured, okay, this is probably broken in, well, one humongous way. But no, I was able to beat it, and very quickly the second time. So there's your good version of 1 versus 100. Not good, epic. I mean, it was a great game. Maybe just too popular for Xbox. Maybe they didn't expect 30,000 people to play, but they still had just amazing numbers, and it was very well done. And then you've got sort of the antithesis of it with the DS game, even though ultimately I proved it could be beaten.
It's time for everybody to hit the dance floor. And now get off the dance floor. You look like that chick from Australia.
She's got a name. It's Ray Gun.
Is Ray Gun going to be called for the next season of Dancing with the Stars, though?
We can only hope.
Is she really going to commute for that?
Sure, why not? ABC supposedly has deep pockets.
Hey, they got JoJo Siwa in that one season of Dancing with the Stars. Remember that?
And the less said about JoJo Siwa right now, the better. Dancing with the Stars. Popular show. Everybody loves it. Let's make a video game of it. And so they did. They released versions on the PS2 and the Wii. Each one has 9 famous couples: Brian Fortuna and Monique Coleman, Emmett Smith and Cheryl Burke, Joey McIntyre and Ashley Del Grosso, Joey Lawrence and Edina Slavinska, whoa, Mario Lopez and Karina Smirnoff, Louis Van Amstel and Lisa Rinna, Jesse DeSoto and Shanna Mokler, Maxim Shmerkovsky and Layla Ali, and Tony Dovolani and Stacy Keebler.
Ooh, Stacy Keebler. Hold on a second. This isn't going to be the only game that has Stacy Keebler in it this episode.
And from there, we also have the cha-cha, the tango, the mambo, the samba, the rumba, the foxtrot, the waltz, and more. And you're doing it all to 32 licensed songs that Activision got the licenses to. They got the licenses to the song. They've got the licenses of name, image, and likenesses of those couples, and Alan Dedicote announcing, and all 3 judges, Carrie Ann Inaba, Bruno Tognoli, and the late, great Len Goodman. So there are 2 ways to do this. You can play with your DualShock, or if you really want the Dancing with the Stars experience, you can borrow your friend's DDR mat. Or you can play with the one that actually comes with the PS2 version. Mike, you actually have a story about this.
No, I don't have a story about it. I just have show and tell. So there it is. There's your PS2 map.
That is a DDR mat. Reskinned. But if you really feel like you want to party, there was also a Wii version. And you can use the Wiimote and the nunchuck. But playing through this game, especially if you're playing through single player mode, you're going to basically hear the judges say the same things over and over and over again, especially if you happen to be very good at that kind of game. Because this is basically DDR with Dancing with the Stars couples instead of robot-looking things. And it's not even as good as DDR. I mean, this has 32 songs. Your standard DDR game will have 60. If you want to dance, go get DDR. Dancing with the Stars is only for people who like to hear how Len Goodman thinks I rumba'd, even though I was only just moving my feet. I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just, it gets old. But it actually did well enough to spawn a sequel for the Wii and the DS. And of course, because it is a Wii game, they have to make that joke in the sequel's title. Dancing with the Stars, Wii Dance.
Wow, how original. Dancing with the Stars, We Dance. Do you get it?
But hey, a video game with Mario Lopez, though.
Yeah. It's too bad we didn't have a Saved by the Bell video game back in the day.
Where if you control Mario Lopez's character, Slater, Every time you hit the B button, instead of throwing an object, he says, "Hey, Preppy! Hey, Preppy! Hey, Preppy!"
Could you imagine the Saved by the Bell game, all the stuff that Zach would do to Mr. Belding?
I can imagine the opening theme just being, "Zach Morris is trash." That's the name of the video game, Zach Morris is trash.
Okay, let's talk about my second game. Now, this is WWE Crush Hour for the PS2 and the GameCube. Now, the premise of this game is Vince McMahon has bought all of television. He has bought everything on television. So everything on television features a WWE superstar in it. And apparently in this universe, he has commissioned a Twisted Metal style competition involving the WWE superstars. Okay. You have the WWE superstars in a Twisted Metal competition, and here I'm showing you this right now. It's basically the WWE Raw set, except it's like, what would you say this arena is kind of like, Chico?
Destruction Derby on the old school PlayStation.
Yeah, it is. So it's basically, oh, yeah, they're getting rockets and stuff. And this is the thing, like Jim Ross does commentary in this game.
Oh my goodness! There was just a huge collision! Devastating collision there!
Oh, and also, I can't wait till we can find the part about the twisty rockets here. Because that's like one of the big things in this game is, like, whenever you grab the twisty rockets, it's like, the way the audio is, it's like, The Undertaker has grabbed the twisty rockets. Or, like, Brock Lesnar has grabbed the twisty rockets. So yeah, apparently, like, the big thing in this is, like, you gotta grab the twisty rockets. But this is just, what would you describe the gameplay, Chico, when you're watching this?
It's like Destruction Derby on the PlayStation, only reskins to the WWE. And it kind of gives me a BattleBots vibe now that I think about it.
You know what this reminds me of? This is basically THQ saying, we made our own version of Twisted Metal.
With blackjack and hookers.
Because that's basically what this game is. But you know, Chico, I have a question. If these Destruction Derby battles in WWE Crush Hour took place in the Tokyo Dome, you gotta wonder that Dave Meltzer would have rated all these battles at least 4 stars.
It would have to be 3 stars. And you know why.
Why?
Because they didn't take place in the Tokyo Dome, brother.
If they're not in the Tokyo Dome, it's 3 stars. But if they were in the Tokyo Dome, Dave would have given them at least 4 stars. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. They didn't involve Tanahashi. That's why they don't get 4 stars. Oh, Mike, you're back. I said to Chico, if the battles in WWE Crush Hour took place at the Tokyo Dome, Dave Meltzer would have given all these battles at least 4 stars.
And I said it would have to be 3 stars because they don't take place in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, this game sucks. So now we're on to our final games. Oh boy. I wonder, Mike, how many stars Dave Meltzer would have rated this game that you're going to cover. I guarantee you would have rated it at least negative 2.5 stars.
No. I think this game is actually one of the better games, at least in my opinion. I know that feelings about this video game are all over the place. I think it's perfectly fine. Other people may not agree with me. What I'm talking about is the late 80s game, The Three Stooges. Yeah, that was sort of a motion picture type of thing. You know, they'd show it before the movies. But as far as I'm concerned, it's on MeTV for like an hour or two, like every night or every weekend. So it's a TV show. We were all raised on it, I bet. This game, very heavily released. It was available in many formats. We'll go through some of them later. Place that I remember it was I had it for the PC. What the premise of this game is the Three Stooges need to raise enough money to save an orphanage. They're given 30 days, and they need to raise $5,000 to save the orphanage. If they do really well and get at least $10,000 in 30 days, not only do they save the orphanage, but they also can upgrade it, because the orphanage is really run down, and obviously, as you can guess, possibly by the premise, the landlord of the orphanage is one of those folks who you'd see in a movie, twirling his mustache and whatnot. You want to raise money, and there's several ways you can raise money. First, the way the game is played, it's almost like a board game. On every day, you have 6 spaces on a board, and you have a hand. And I think the hand had 3 fingers. And the 3 fingers, actually, there's significance to it. We'll get to it in a little bit. But so you had a timer, and the timer got faster in speed as you advanced throughout the game. So early on, you can pick and choose what game you want by stopping the hand on one of the spaces. But as the game goes further, the later you go into the 30 days, the faster that hand moves. Sometimes on the board, there's a mousetrap. And the mousetrap basically means you lose one of your fingers, which means you lose a life, essentially. But there's several different sort of events for each of the days beyond the mousetrap. There was a cracker eating contest where you had Curly eating crackers, trying to eat the crackers before the oysters ate crackers. Oysters are clams. It may have been clam chowder, but you're trying to eat these crackers or pick them up with your spoon before the shellfish do. And then there was a boxing match game where I want to say it was Curly. I thought Curly was in the boxing match, but one of the Stooges, maybe it was Larry. It wasn't Mo. I think Mo was the sideline guy for whoever was boxing. I think it was Larry who did this game. He had to go get a radio from a store, and then he had to bring it back to the arena, the boxing match, because that's what gave Curly the inspiration to beat his opponent. But also, there's other little games, not really even games per se, that really involve you doing anything or involve you earning money. There are just free money spots. It just has a dollar sign. You land on it, you get $100, $200, what have you. There's a question mark icon, which usually ends up being a safe falling on you, and the safe has big bucks. But then there's a game that the icon looks like Mo poking Curly in the eyes. Yeah, with the V shape, the 2 fingers. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That game is not played for money, but the thing is, if you do really well in that game, in terms of beating up Curly, for lack of a better phrase here, that slows down your timer. So if you do really well beating up Curly, your timer slows down, which again makes it easier in the game to pick whatever game you're going to play in that next round. Because again, if it goes really fast, you really don't have control over that. There's also a game that involves throwing pies. Well, of course, it's the Three Stooges. You got to have pies being thrown at some point. And so the Three Stooges are on one side of a banquet hall, and there's hoity-toity folks, if you will, on the other side. And you've got to launch pies to hit them, but at the same time, they're going to launch pies back at you, and you've got to duck, trying to avoid being hit by the pies. And I think there's a certain level of tolerance. I mean, you may get like 5 lives or 5 opportunities. If you're hit by 5 pies, the game ends. There's also an icon with a person, a big looking guy who's smoking a cigar, you don't want to land on that because that actually takes away 10% of your money. So there's a lot of redundancy in this because, again, you have just those primary games. Plus, there is trivia that occasionally pops up where a question's given and you have to choose either true, false, or A, B, or C. And if you get the right answer, you get a little bit of money. I think it was like $200. And if you're wrong, again, lost day. And the game ends after 30 days. If you're lucky, I don't think I ever got to 30 days. Or when you lose all your fingers. So your 3 opportunities, if you hit the mousetrap 3 times, game ends. And depending on how much money you have, if you have under $5,000, the landlord wins. Boo, hiss. If you make at least 5,000 but less than 10, yay, the orphanage is saved. If you make $10,000 or more, not only is the orphanage saved, but it gets refurbished. It looks brand new. I should note that the number of fingers you have in the game is 4, not 3. So you get 4 lives. And you don't lose a day if you get your hand caught in the mousetrap. And this game, oh my gosh, there were so many places to get this if you've never played it. It was on Amiga, Apple II, Commodore 64, the NES. It was on the Game Boy Advance. Even though this game was from the late 80s, it got a Game Boy Advance release. And I've actually got that somewhere because the PC game is long gone and there's no way I could play it on a 2024 computer. There is a Windows version, but also there was a port to the PS1. And that's another version I have, but my PS2 hasn't been hooked up for a long time. I know that the reaction to some people on this game is, oh, this sucks. I thought this is a great game. I enjoy playing it nowadays. And actually, one thing I want to add before we go to the next game, the first time I played it, so this is Little Mikey in 1987, 88. I install the game and I do the run execute file or whatever it was in DOS. And the game loads and the title screen for the game came up, but the title screen was for Defender of the Crown. And I'm like, oh no, they gave me the wrong game. And then here comes Larry, Moe, and Curly, and they're like, oh, we're in the wrong game, guys. I thought that was absolutely brilliant as a 12, 13-year-old. They faked you out by saying, hey, you got Defender of the Crown. Hey, guys, we're in the wrong game. Let's get to the right one. And they had the title screen and the Three Stooges music. It's one of those memories that just lives with me. It was a great psych out, if you will.
I should note in the NES version, the fake out game they'd use is Ghostbusters 2.
So it changed based on the version. That's interesting, because I think the Game Boy game and the PS1 game both used Defender of the Crown as well, even though neither of those games would have been released for those systems. That is interesting. But yeah, that's one that, depending on how you feel, it could be a great game, it could be a repetitive, crappy game. But in my heart, it's one of those games from my childhood that I still love dearly to this day. So with that, I'm going to give it to Chico for his last game.
I have to make a call. Calling International Rescue. Calling International Rescue. We're about to talk about Thunderbirds, guys.
Ooh, Thunderbirds.
You guys know about Thunderbirds. Jerry Anderson, Super Marionation, rescuing people, all of that stuff. The version that was released on the NES basically reskinned a generic vertical scroller. Turned it into a pew, 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 pew. Which is odd because I didn't think any of the Thunderbirds were equipped with weaponry. Barry Gray's theme, the Thunderbirds March. An incredible job in the opening of the game. And the story itself it lends itself to a long-form Thunderbirds episode. International Rescue has to stop the Hood, who is threatening to bombard the Earth with meteors in 60 days. And each stage is a day unless you blow up your instrument. In which case, Brains, or Dr. Brain, because it was programmed in Japan and, localization being what it is in 1989, I don't think anybody who brought this to the US actually saw an episode of Thunderbirds. You had have 3 days taken off your 60-day counter to fix whatever Thunderbird you broke. It was an okay shooter. This is a masterclass in bad box art. This is the box for the original Famicom release. See the Japanese logo, Thunderbird 2, Scott Tracy right there. Packet Video did a really excellent job with this game, but you can take a look at this and you would expect to see Thunderbirds, right?
Yeah.
This is what Activision went with for the box art of the North American release.
What the hell is this?
This is, we're going to make our own Top Gun 1942 thing. And I know what they were going for with this, but that ain't Thunderbird 1. And this ain't Scott Tracy.
No. This looks like they got, somebody to pretend to be Anthony Edwards from Top Gun.
And here's what the back of the box for the North American release of Thunderbird says. Fly with the best. In the future, combat pilots do battle in the air, underwater, deep within the Earth, and far into outer space. Are you tough enough to join the Thunderbirds, the world's elite fighting force? Somewhere Jerry Anderson's going, what the hell is this crap?
It's like Activision thought, yeah, we want that sweet Konami Top Gun money.
It's like somebody from Packet Video gave ITV Studios all this money saying, we want to do a Thunderbirds video game for the Famicom. Because if you think about it, Thunderbirds has a really big following in Japan. Without Thunderbirds, you would probably not have the Super Sentai. Thunderbirds didn't have that big of a following in America.
No, it did not have a big following here.
So here we are in the age of shovelware for the NES, and third-party licensees are going like, okay, we just need to put product out. We need to get our 5 a year from Nintendo, because that's the deal. You get the license, you can only produce 5 games a year, hence all of the side publishing gigs.
Unless you had a workaround like Konami did with Ultra Games.
Or Acclaim with LJM. But Activision, they had to get their 5 from Nintendo, and they're like, okay, Packet Video, we'll pay you all of this money to bring Thunderbirds to the US. Okay. But I don't think they went to ITV Studios to get a proper vetting on the box art. The game itself is okay. You're controlling all of the stuff. You're going through the stages. You are defeating the Hood and bringing peace to the Earth. But the box art, I can't wrap my head around this.
Like I said, it was Activision thinking, we want that Top Gun money that Konami's getting.
Okay, Greg. And not a big one.
Oh, You really want this to be a big one? You really want this to be a big one? All right, I'm going to give you a big one. I'm going to have to consult with Mr. Big. I'm going with The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle on the NES. And oh my god. I saw this. There's a Rocky and Bullwinkle game for Nintendo. It's probably going to be terrible. Like, all licensed games on the NES were mostly back in the day, unless you were a Disney afternoon show. And, well, I'm not going to lie, it is bad. It's as bad as you could imagine. Hold on a second. I gotta go back to the intro screen here real quick. Wait, Howard Phillips of Nintendo fame was the executive producer of this? Really?
Yeah. After he left Nintendo, he spent some time at LucasArts, and then he spent some time at THQ, which published this.
Oh yeah, this was the very beginning of THQ. But yeah, the drawing of Rocky and Bullwinkle, which goes by so quick here. What the hell is this? Crappy ass drawing that looks like it was done in Microsoft Paint of both Rocky and Bullwinkle. It's terrible. But you know what I like about this game? Like, when you start the levels, it does the thing that they do in Rocky and Bullwinkle cliffhangers. Level 1, titled either What's the Buzzsaw or simply Shocking! Exclamation point. Bullwinkle's collecting bombs, and he's throwing them at Boris. And he's just running away from all these bombs.
Is he headbutting?
Yeah, he is. And he's trying to avoid items. So this is basically like he's trying to collect items and he's trying to dodge things while running up and down. So this is basically like THQ saying we can make our own version of Bart versus the Space Mutants with blackjack and hookers. And Rocky, look at Rocky. He's colored like he's a member of the LA Raiders. He's in silver and black he's animated in, and it's terrible.
Doesn't even look silver.
Level 2 is titled Right on Track, or Desert Anyone? Rocky's on a train. Level 3 is titled Bon Voyage, or Rocky Sees Ahead. Oh, I like how Bullwinkle's just charging, headbutting these people on the ship with his antlers. I actually like how you can switch between both Rocky and Bullwinkle here. Wonder if this is like 2-player. I doubt this is 2-player. Level 4 is titled Land Ho, or Continental Disaster. So yeah, Rocky's just collecting keys here. Is he getting hit by cherries? Or is it apples?
It's like apples.
Alright. But level 5, the final level, is titled either Fortune, Misfortune, or The Moose is Too Rich. So I guess this final level's at this mansion with like a portrait of these mooses right here. And now we got Bullwinkle battling Natasha. And then then just randomly, at some point in the game, if you go to a certain point, randomly, this game will just end. And it'll just have, like, Bullwinkle holding, like, a dollar bill with Rocky looking on. And then there's the caption, "You win." And there's an IRS guy holding a bag of money.
What's Erwin R. Shyster doing in this game?
He's probably telling all the kids to pay up and pay your taxes.
Now, Greg, I think you need to note in this video, this is a long play video. Use air quotes around the word long play. At what point did this game say you win?
8 minutes and 53 seconds.
So not even 10 minutes.
No.
Talk about a game done quickly.
This has to be like one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. This is not worthy of the name Rocky and Bullwinkle. You know what this game needed?
Don't say Jane Moosefield.
Yes, I'm going to say Jane Moosefield. Isn't that right, Miss Moosefield? Aren't you upset that you are not in this game?
Hello, handsome. This is a recording.
I know, Miss Moosefield. I'm pissed that you were not included in this game. I mean, the NES just had a lot of crappy adaptations, and I'm sure you'll agree with me.
Hello, handsome. This is a recording.
Well, I guess that closes out this installment of the video game show. I thank Jane Moosefield for her cameo appearance at the end. And I don't know if we're going to be able to find 9 more games to cover. I'm sure if we really try, we can find some. But man, we really dug deep into the crevices of video game history for these winners. Well, I think the best thing to do right now is just tell you, you can always visit our website at itwasathingontv.com. We are almost at 500 episodes. We're going to hit the 500th episode next month. So you got a big backlog of previous episodes. And don't forget our miscellaneous type of episodes, the instant reactions, the extended cuts, all the episodes that we've done over the last almost 5 years. And please don't forget that we're on social media just about anywhere at It Was a Thing on TV, all one word. But please do remember that for Facebook, you got to go to It Was a Thing on TV podcast. And please, if you want to find us on Mastodon, you need to search for us at It Was a Thing on TV at tvwatch.party.
And, of course, every Friday, we got the Place to Be Nation drops on the pop feed. I hope you enjoyed all our discussion today about the Australian breakdancer. I'm sure you all loved it. We're all going to hopefully miss the Australian breakdancer. And we're all sad that breakdancing's not going to be in the Olympics in 4 years. But you know what? She brought joy to our lives. Do you agree?
It brought something. And surely if we are still here in 4 years, when we're at like episode 900 in summer of 2028, we will definitely do a retrospective of breakdancing at the 2024 Olympics.
Look at Chico. He's like, oh, God, I got to cover Ray Gun in 4 years.
Well, again, big if we're still here. Who knows?
If we're still here.
Big
God
if.
willing.
Hopefully we will be, but that's neither here nor there right now. And don't forget, in addition, you can listen to us at itwasthingontv.com, I mentioned earlier, but also we're available wherever you can find fine podcasts. Places like iHeartRadio, Audible, TuneIn Radio, Apple Podcasts, independent podcast players. If it can get a podcast, you can find us. And also don't forget the Podbean app. That's a great place to go since we're hosted on Podbean. And please also don't forget we are on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay informed of all future uploads on that channel, including what's coming up next week. Well, guys, I can vouch for this. It's back to school time. We have 2 episodes next week, but a third one the week after related to school. And we're going to start off with a TV show about a teacher. And believe it or not, he's not just a teacher, he's a licensed teacher.
Wow.
Well, I think all teachers need to be licensed. I know I've got to be licensed. So, congratulations on getting your licensure, I think. I don't know. But then the second episode next week, I don't think this was even on our radar till about a year ago or so. And I think Greg is going to have some stuff to say. It's going to be one of those episodes. I think, to say the least, we could say that the second episode, it's no class holes.
No.
There's no James Woods. There's no Brian Griffin. It's no class holes, but it's not terribly far from class holes. So we're going back to school next week, kids. Get your backpacks. Get your laptops ready. Right here at It Was the Thing on TV. As always, thank you for listening. Please be kind to each other. Stay safe. And we'll catch you next week for back to school time.
Row!
We're in the wrong game. Hey, this looks like a kid's game.